Inside Gaming is sponsored by ExpressVPN. Your data is your business. Protect it at expressvpn.com/inside. Warning, Inside Gaming is under quarantine. So we're gonna talk a little more about that at the end of the show, but yeah, we're gonna take some health measures soon, so yeah.
Stick around.
Stick around.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Inside Gaming Daily for Friday. I think everyone in this world right now needs a big, old, resounding oh no! We're here for you guys. We love you all, so let's enjoy the day. A terrible rainy day in Los Angeles.
Yep, after that quick preface, we're gonna have to bum you out a little on a Friday. Sorry, but we gotta, this is what's gonna bum you out.
Yeah, oh no.
Yeah. But we've got a scary question. Is the video games industry slowly killing itself?
Weird energy, we gotta shake off the existential cobwebs. Yeah, so we've got some disturbing news about how developers treat their workers, which continues to be terribly. Jaws are not dropping across the globe. This isn't breaking news by any means, but we've got some new info coming out that spells disaster. D-I-S-A-S-T-E-R.
And this has like ramifications across the game industry, right, Zach?
Yeah, I mean, pretty bad ones too. It turns out that video games, pause for effect, aren't being made in a sustainable way. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, none of this is new, but as a result, the people who make them are quitting, lots of them, which means that the industry could be in huge trouble.
This may sound clickbaity, but bear with us because it's a genuine concern shared by industry vets.
Yeah, so there are crunch stories that pop up with pretty much every new release, but now it kind of sounds like it's reaching newer heights. In this latest case, we're specifically talking about The Last of Us 2, the sequel to one of the best games of the last few generations. We're all excited about it, but it's due out in May, and of course, made by Naughty Dog, who's one of the premier AAA developers in video games. Yeah, the studio's known for making, impressive Sony exclusives like The Last of Us and of course Uncharted. But maybe there's a little bit something foul in Denmark? Oh wait, rotten in Denmark.
But now one former employee of Naughty Dog says that the developer isn't what it used to be and that its bad habits are being propped up by Sony and all its cash.
All that development magic just turns out to be abuse.
Well, wait a minute.
This is a story about the brutal working conditions in the gaming industry and the fact that it's starting to bleed veteran talent, much like me because of my razor.
Yeah, it turns out if you work people to death, they end up leaving. And it sounds like Naughty Dog is learning that the hard way.
Yeah, can you walk us through this?
It all started when Jason Schreier from Kotaku put out a story about the crunch that's involved with making The Last of Us 2. And while Naughty Dog has a reputation for making great games, it also has a reputation for its employees working long hours, and it kind of sounds like a lot of AAA developers we know already. Rockstar, Epic, basically any AAA developer, yeah.
For a lot of employees at Naughty Dog, that means 12-hour workdays and even weekends when they're in crunch mode.
Schreier said that this crunch isn't overtly mandatory, but he said that for most of the staff, there's an unspoken social pressure to stick around.
That's a theme we've heard before. Maybe a studio doesn't overtly require you to work overtime, but if your bosses and coworkers are staying till midnight, you're probably gonna stick around too. The shadiest way to get people to overwork themselves. You convince them that they want to do it.
My boss has been riding my ass lately. And one of the consequences to all that crunch is that people leave, especially your best people. And a lot of people have quit Naughty Dog. According to Kotaku, of the 20 non-lead designers who were in the credits of 2016's Uncharted 4, 70% aren't there anymore.
That's nuts.
That's enormous. So as a result, it sounds like the studio has been hollowed out when it comes to veteran talent.
And they've had to replace them with contractors and junior level staffers who haven't been totally sucked dry by the industry and are more desperate to prove themselves. Is this about us?
This is how I got into a management role.
The older, jaded veterans leave, and the inexperienced younger
dumbasses
people
are like,
Oh my god, yeah, wait!
take over.
But as a result, things now take longer, right, Zach?
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense because it takes newer people longer to, get into things. There's training required, there's work rhythms to get into, they've got to learn where the bathroom is, that's a concern. How you cannot use the coffee machine at 11 a.m. when Jeff is crafting his perfect cup of joe. Stuff like that, all huge barriers to entry for people like us, little junior babies.
Coffee anxiety's real.
what's real?
Anxiety, not real. You heard it here first. Anyway, yesterday, a former Naughty Dog employee posted a long Twitter thread confirming a lot of what was in the Kotaku story and added a bunch of worrying new details. Tell us more about that, Zach.
Yeah, so the former employee is an animator named Jonathan Cooper, who worked on The Last of Us 2 and Uncharted 4, two of Naughty Dog's most recent games. Cooper said that he had no, quote, awful crunch tale to share. He personally worked between 46 to 55-hour weeks at Naughty Dog, but he also said that the crunch was definitely a factor in other departments. He wrote that for The Last of Us 2 demo shown in September, the gameplay animators crunched more than I've ever seen and required weeks of recovery afterwards. One good friend of mine was hospitalized at that time due to overwork. It's not like we're talking about hard manual labor here. If you're doing a white-collar job that requires you to be hospitalized because it's pushing you to your limits that hard, that's not okay by any means.
He went on to say that Naughty Dog's reputation for crunch within Los Angeles is so bad it was near impossible to hire seasoned contract game animators to close out the project.
Wait, you said Los Angeles? That's where we are right now. Let's
That's
go. Come on, baby.
It's the city of angels. As a result, they had to hire film animators and more junior staffers to get the job done. He said every aspect of finishing this game took much longer due to the lack of game experience on the team.
Yeah, that's because they had to spend more time training up the new people to get them up to speed. Plus, film animation and video game animation are entirely different beasts. And film animators would not be versed in even like some of the very basic stuff of video games.
By nature of their job. It's
Yeah,
a different
'cause that-
thing.
yeah.
Cooper said that there are other stories worse than this in the studio, but he was just focusing on animation because obviously that's the area that he had firsthand knowledge of. Yeah, Zach?
Yeah, he added that the game will probably still be awesome, writing, "For The Last of Us 2 fans, the game should turn out great with industry-leading animation. I would just not recommend anyone work at Naughty Dog until they prioritize talent retention." It's also where he dropped kind of a final bomb. Cooper wrapped up by saying that Naughty Dog's practices are kind of enabled by Sony.
Like PlayStation Sony?
Papa
No, it's
Sony, the
it's
very same.
a different Sony though,
Yeah,
right?
no,
Surely.
Thus
Sony's-
very same.
He wrote, while talented, their success is due in large part to Sony's deep pockets funding delays rather than skill alone. A more senior team would have shipped The Last of Us 2 a year ago.
Damn! In a way though, that enabling kind of makes sense considering that Naughty Dog has been one of Sony's crown jewels for a while now.
In the dark days of the PS3 when it wasn't doing so well, fans could always point to franchises like Uncharted as a reason to own the system. That's probably built up a lot of loyalty from Sony's end.
Oh, and Naughty Dog definitely noticed Cooper's tweet storm. VP Neil Druckmann just posted this response. Even after years of working on it, I'm still blown away by the animation in part 2. We have one of, if not the, best animation team in the industry, both in raw animation skill and technical knowledge. Can't wait for you to experience their incredible work.
Doesn't seem like a response. Zach, what do you think? Is Naughty Dog the studio it used to be?
I mean, from this Kotaku report as well as, Cooper's tweet storm, it definitely doesn't sound that way. It's not just Naughty Dog though. I mean, we've seen this phenomenon in other studios like BioWare, who, used to be widely respected in our games industry here, but they've kind of lost key staffers over the year too. Other places like Blizzard, and the name of the studio might be the same, but the people inside are very different.
So part of that might be due to the fact that people get older and change their priorities. So you're gonna be more likely to work long hours when you're single and in your 20s, hey, compared to when you're married and you have a family. Ideally, you'd like to spend time with them.
Not my wife.
Nah.
Dude, I told you, I gotta go work on background renders, you get off my ass!
Family does not exactly mix with 80-hour work weeks.
Hey, the real 80-hour
great.
work week is being a stay-at-home mom. Hey, thanks for all of you that do it.
Plus, if you're a senior animator and have a lot of experience under your belt, you have way more options to pick and choose from. Why would you choose studios that are infamous for crunching when you can select better managed projects?
And The Last of Us 2 might be the canary in the coal mine, warning of disaster ahead, because while studios have been crunching people for years, we might be hitting a point where it's no longer sustainable.
Yeah, video games are really hard to make and it requires a lot of skilled talent to pull off, and at some point, if enough of your employees leave, you will not be able to replace all of them with new people or contractors.
And that's why Cooper's comment about how a senior crew would have put out The Last of Us 2 a year ago is so interesting. These departures are having a huge effect on games and their release schedules.
Yeah, despite the unsustainability of it all, the industry does not show any signs of changing its ways. There's crunch involved in basically every major release, and while they all say the right things, that they're trying to cut back on it, when push comes to shove, they virtually all do it.
Yeah, so there was a lot of crunch on Red Dead Redemption 2. The CEO of CD Projekt Red admitted that they're crunching right now on Cyberpunk 2077. So what's the solution here, Zach? Actually,
Solve it.
could you just do us
yeah,
all
if
a
you don't
favor?
mind.
Just figure it out.
Unionize.
that's it.
It's easy?
Yeah, I mean, like right now, industry employees are kind of just voting with their feet. When things get bad enough, they leave, either to other studios or maybe they just quit video games entirely. All these noobs need to hit them where it hurts, in their wallets. It's taking you an extra year to put out The Last of Us 2.
So while we haven't hit the breaking point yet, this latest story has shown that the industry might be facing a crisis sooner than later.
Oh, good. Another one.
Awesome, great. Another crisis on top of the other 700.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. This one is so far down.
In terms of
It goes coronavirus, economy,
Everyone, not
climate
one having
problem,
insurance.
and then up here
affording
is
it.
Naughty Dog's treatment of its employees.
Yeah. All right. So speaking of crises, we're kind of being told we should work from home if we can. So we are going to do that as best we can. For right
Heavily
now,
encouraged, I
yeah.
think, is the
Yeah.
wording.
For right now, we probably will still be coming in to shoot the daily every day. And to kind of supplement that and keep ourselves from going just completely batshit insane.
Cuckoo, wacko, crazy nuts.
We're probably gonna do some streaming with each other together online remotely. We'll figure that out. Autumn, I don't know if you have anything else you want to say about it.
Inside Gaming Verse. We here are going to be following our public health suggestions and quarantining our asses at home. There will not be more than 3 people here at a time. The daily will still be coming out as usual for now. That may change in the future, but we will be going home afterwards. We will be editing the daily at home, and then we will be live streaming for your pleasure on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/theknow.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Inside Gaming Daily for Tuesday. It's Spark in your coworker space Tuesday.
Slap him on the wagon Tuesday.
Smack them in the nads so they can't have children Tuesday.
It's all out of fun, okay, guys? This is completely normal. Stop suing me, all of you out there.
If you've been paying attention to the video game news at all over the last year, you probably know there have been some issues